Welcome back to another episode of Light Beer, Dark Money. I'm Sean Noble.
I'm Chris Clements.
And we are grateful for the presence of Warren Petersen.
Yes.
Thanks for being here,
Thanks
Senate
for
President.
having me.
First time on the show.
Cool studio. Love this place.
Yeah, well, I mean, we built it.
right, yeah.
Actually, I think it's fair to say we're helping to maintain it.
Yeah,
Maybe
A little bit,
Maybe
like
a
a
little
smidge.
Smidge. Maybe small amount.
We idolize Dave Pratt, though.
Yeah.
The morning mayor.
I mean, those of us who grew up in Arizona, everybody knows Dave Pratt.
we are very grateful to have the opportunity to be here and to be having you on the show for the first time.
Thank you.
So,
Yeah.
for those listeners that don't know, Warren Petersen is the Senate President in the state legislature.
Which means he's a glutton for punishment.
Yes. But more importantly, now he is announced to run for Attorney General to take on Kris Mayes,
Yes.
our current very liberal Attorney General.
Yes. She's suing the United States Congress as of like 2 days ago.
Right.
Yeah.
Is there anything so we were just talking about this really very briefly before we started, but she really, one of the things that I can say about Kris is that she seems to be doing all the things that you would want her to do as an opponent, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Someone recently said, "Hey, can you tell us something you appreciate about Kris Mayes?" And I said, "Yeah, I appreciate that she's helping me get votes and raise money."
Right.
I mean, this latest lawsuit against Congress, this one is, I mean, I would be embarrassed to do something like that. Unless we get a really horrible, awful judge that doesn't know what they're doing. I mean, this is a no-brainer. These are the rules of Congress.
Right.
She has zero jurisdiction. Has nothing to do with her. And, it's just going to be another loss. And she has, I mean, her record of winning lawsuits is atrocious, and she's wasting millions of taxpayer dollars.
Well, I think that's the part that I don't think people really recognize, is that she's continued to sue the Trump administration, the federal government. I mean, all kinds
Political
of
opponents.
Political opponents. I mean, she is the embodiment of lawfare, and she was one of the AG candidates that was propped up by the hardcore left, the dark money cohorts, the left dark money.
You think the left has dark money?
Oh,
really?
they got
Bad
more than we
dark
do.
money.
They
Yeah.
got more than we do.
A lot more than we do.
Yeah, there's good dark money and bad dark money.
Yeah.
And they're the bad dark money.
Absolutely. I'm glad we finally made that clear.
Made that clear. But I mean,
It's kind of like beer. There's good beer,
Yeah,
and there's
that's right.
really bad beer.
That's right. She is she comes from the hardcore left, and the amount of wasted tax dollars has got to be in the millions.
Yeah, actually, the Arizona Republic recently put something out that on the Trump stuff, I think they said $2 million. Of course, you've got the other lawfare that she's doing against county recorders, against some of the electors, and yeah, it's over $2 million that she's wasted. And as you guys know, when it comes to law enforcement, which is really what she should be focused on, there's never enough money.
Right.
You have people that feel, of course, in the community that their crimes are not being prosecuted, and all of those resources, and this is going to be my priority, is I'm going to take all of those resources that she's wasting on political lawfare, on environmental radicalism that she's involved in. We're going to do a major realignment. Those resources are going to go to where they should be, which is fighting crime, keeping Arizona safe.
That's perfect. I mean, that's the entire platform. I mean,
Yeah.
you probably don't need anything else. I mean, you'll have a bunch of other things that you can do as AG, but just from the standpoint of setting the priorities of what voters care about, I mean, that is a bright contrast between you and Kris Mayes.
100%. I mean, we have a couple hundred people move here to Arizona every single day, and if you ask them why, one of the reasons is always public safety. Now, she has been much softer on crime than our prior AG. Her priorities are not on crime, and so that area is definitely slipping. And it is, as you say, it's what people really want. It's one of the things people really want government to do. For me, it's really, it could be even boring. It's just we should just be fighting crime, defending the laws and the Constitution, and eliminating government corruption. That should be our our three priorities that the AG's office is focused on.
No question. We've had some, looking back, we've had some pretty good AGs in this state. Not so great AGs, but I mean, one great AG, going back a little bit for us, is Bob Corbin.
Oh, that does go back a long time.
And, yes, there was a little bit of division, because you can get into the Ev Mecum issue. That becomes a bit of an issue. But when you look at the people that were in the Corbin administration and then the leaders that came out of that, I mean, that's what's important, is that Corbin was a great leader, but he spawned a whole bunch of really amazing people like Steve Twist, John Shattuck, Terry Sarvis, Ian McPherson. I mean, people that have been involved in state government, federal government, the workings of politics for decades now.
Yeah.
And I think that, you would embody someone that would be a leader that would draw talent to the office, which could then continue, that conservative expansion, for years to come.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, I think that will happen. I've heard she's having a problem recruiting, and I think that's because she's veering from the mission of the office. And whenever you're not doing what the office should be doing, people don't want to be a part of it. But when I come in and we're going to be focused on, we're going to prosecute everything. I mean, earlier this year, I went down to the border with 12 AGs from around the country. We did a press conference, had Fox News there, and we were basically showing the United States the safest, most secure border in the history of America. And when we asked border security, why is the border secure, they told us two things had changed to secure the border. First, catch and release was ended.
Yeah.
And second, Trump, the DOJ now prosecutes everything. So that's how that's exactly, it's really that simple. We don't need any new laws. We just need a new AG. We didn't need any new laws. We just need a new president.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm going to come in and we're going to prosecute everything. We're going to take those resources that are being misused, put that towards crime. And if we don't have the resources, I'm going to go to the legislature. I kind of know how the process works over at the legislature. I've got friends there, and when they trust the AG, they will give you the resources you need for these critical things that are in some of these heinous things like human trafficking, the fentanyl, and just even small crimes that are getting bypassed right now.
Yeah, it's actually something I didn't even think about, was the fact that you won't really need a legislative representative for your office. You could just pick up the phone yourself, right? I mean, that's
at least for a few terms until they all churn out.
Right.
Well, I mean, and that begs another question, and this is really directed at your current position, and that is, the legislature knows how incredibly corrupt she is and what she's trying to do. How are we trying to rein her in?
Yeah. Well, that's I'm glad you brought that up. I mean, so I've actually beat everybody in the executive in court. Democrats like to break the law. I'm sure that doesn't surprise you at all, but Hobbs broke the law with nominees, beat her in court. Fontes broke the law in the EPM. I beat him in court. And then we did rein in Mayes, and we cut some funding from her. She sued us, and she lost in court, and she paid us $40,000 in attorney's fees. So we
just another notch on the.
And here's something cool that you may not have heard of, but in the last budget, I was able to negotiate with Hobbs the removal of private funding for lawyers at the AG's office. So Michael Bloomberg was actually funding 2 environmental attorneys at the AG's office. So how do you think? What kind of work do you think they were doing?
That's probably breaking news for a lot of our listeners. Yeah, I did not know that.
Did not know.
Yeah. So I mean,
Michael Bloomberg.
Yeah. So Bloomberg.
He wasn't funding like an anti-soda campaign.
So
it's the same
we
vein.
we eliminated that. Those 2 positions are unfunded right now, so they should be going away. But that is an example of the kind of people that the kind of things that we should not be doing over there at that office.
Well, it does. I mean, it does raise serious questions as to what the focus of the AG is doing when she's allowing her office to be infiltrated by special interests like Michael Bloomberg.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of frightening.
Yeah, and so and it works both ways. So it's like, this is good. This is a good law for her. It'll be a good law for me too. I mean, I'm not going to have special outside private money dictating how the office is run. We're going to be beholden to the taxpayers, and that's who we need to be answering to. But
you're not going to have the
to your
Federalist
point-
Society coming in and picking all your lawyers
Well, I
and
will
funding them
I will
with
tell
dark
you-
money.
I will tell you, we're definitely going to need to get some new lawyers.
Yeah.
But there will be no private funding of our lawyers. So to your point of earlier, that's one of the ways. There's been a few ways we've kept her in check, but those are a couple right there.
Yeah. Well, somebody needs to keep her in check because she keeps wasting our money.
It is unbelievable. And what's interesting is, when you look at how focused she is on really driving the hard left agenda. I mean,
It's surprising.
yeah, it's like, does she realize that she's up for reelection? I mean, has she announced that she's running for reelection?
She recently did,
Okay.
but
So-
I think a lot of people have been surprised because of the three big execs, right? She had the closest, she only won by 280 votes.
Right.
Yeah.
And so people thought, oh, well, she'll hover towards the middle. She's actually gone the furthest to the left.
by far the furthest left.
So-
Way more than Fontes as Secretary of State, and way more than Hobbs as
Yeah.
governor.
And I don't know if the strategy is, hey, opposing party in the presidency, just really banking on hoping for low approval numbers. Is it, this guarantees me big money coming in for my race? I don't know the strategy, but it certainly does not match the electorate.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Well, and I think that, this is one of those races that is very easily, what I guess the way I'm trying to say it is that conventional wisdom is it's going to be a challenging election year for Republicans because we have a Republican president.
Right.
That's the nationalization of races, that kind of thing. But because she has been so hard-edged on the left and so propaganda-driven on, that agenda, there's just some super bright contrast that you can paint pretty easily, and really focusing on the public safety issue is one in which that is a winner, period. And so I could see a situation where you become one of the top vote getters in the state this next election because you're going to have an opponent who is just so off the rails.
Yeah, I think we definitely have the opportunity for that. And she has just been, soft on crime, very anti-business. A lot of the times the business community doesn't really care that much about the AG race.
Yeah,
I can tell
that's
you
true.
the business community is very interested in this race.
I think if there's anything that's been proven out by that, just have to look at Letitia James in New York and what she did going after Trump, and Mayes is as liberal or more.
Yeah.
And so the business community should be concerned about the craziness of the lawfare that she's engaged in.
Well, that lawsuit alone turned a lot of folks like myself who are kind of iffy on Donald Trump all in.
Yeah.
Because as a business person, if you're going to go after somebody for inflating the value of their business, whoops.
Yeah.
To get favorable terms for a loan, and you pay back that loan with interest and pay taxes on that business, and then you get prosecuted for that.
Right. And when the bank
And
is
the
like,
bank is like,
well, we're fine. We got our money.
We got our money back. We did our due diligence. Here's all the info. Every businessman, every small, large, medium, looked at that lawsuit and got very frightened because any AG could do that.
Yeah, no, I think people have been. I think it was pretty clear the population. That was kind of when Trump really took off.
Oh, it was.
The population was like, "Holy cow! This political lawfare stuff is out of control and off the charts." I think that's a big concern for people, and I think too people here in Arizona. They do not want us to turn into California. They don't want us to be Oregon. You have some of these businesses that just have no protection.
Yeah.
In these really liberal states. they won't even prosecute. They won't. I've talked to some of these retailers, some of these store owners, and in these very blue states, when, if she goes all the way, and I think her second term will be, I think she'll double down. I think she'll triple down. And so it's really critical that we take this back and keep Arizona safe.
Yeah. She's come a long way from, being with Bob Stump.
It's a whole different person.
Like what?
Entirely different person.
Yeah. We talked about this on one of our last shows.
Warren's too young to remember these days. When Kris Mayes was the press secretary for Bob Stump. And then went on to, it was after that she became a reporter for the Republic, right?
Yeah, she got blue pilled.
And then went to law school and really just went hard left.
La La
Hard
Land.
left. Corporation Commission, and just embraced the dark side.
Yeah.
Pretty sad. It's a sad story.
Well, I mean, but you make up a good point in terms of where the business community is and where the population is turning. We had a guest on several weeks ago, George Califf, who's talking about how the state is actually getting redder when you really look at the demographics, when you look at different areas of the electorate, that the demographics, when you look even, Trump's winning percentage in the last election, over 5%. It's going to be harder the next cycle for Kris Mayes and for the governor to run farther to the left. It's going to be very difficult.
100%. We've actually added 100,000 Republicans since the last election. AG race decided by 280 votes. Governor's race decided by 27,000 votes. So no, absolutely. We do what we did.
27,000 votes, and she never had a debate. She never was in front of the population.
Yeah.
And when she was with her trusty little iPad.
Yeah. No, totally wild. But yeah, and I think once we really put out there, a lot of people aren't even aware of some of the positions Mayes has been taking on a lot of these lawsuits, how she hasn't been defending our laws. Arizona has a statute that gives the Senate President standing in the event our AG is not defending the law. Well, right now I'm involved in over 90 lawsuits.
Oh my gosh! Give us some color on that.
Yeah. So when people hear,
hear
about
this is information that our listeners it would not be on anybody's radar. That would be a role.
Yeah,
for
we'll get it out there. But just a couple of things that are, California passed a rule that said any trucks in Arizona that do business in California would have to electrify their trucks. Total typical California insanity. Well, but of course, Kris Mayes thinks this is a good idea, right?
Yeah, of
so
course.
She didn't do anything. So I joined with other AGs, and we sued California earlier this year, and we won. We're not going to have to electrify our trucks here in the state of Arizona. And then there's just like the common sense stuff, and this is the stuff where the Democrats are now, pulling at their lowest ever because they're just holding on to this stuff, and Mayes is holding on to this stuff, but boys and girls sports. We passed a law, no boys and girls sports. Fast forward to today. Thank goodness we had Governor Ducey who signed that into law. Fast forward to now, and two boys who think they're girls sued the state of Arizona, and Kris Mayes does nothing because she thinks it's okay for boys to play in girls sports. I defended the law. I spent all day in deposition, and right now I'm the one of the lead defendants at the U.S. Supreme Court defending the Save Women's Sports Act for the state of Arizona. Thank goodness we have that, the ability where we have standing here. But we have, there's all these areas where we're adverse to Kris Mayes, and there are things where when I talk to your rank and file citizen, she's definitely, they do not agree with the position she's taken on these issues.
Yeah, no question.
Well, we've said it, ad nauseum in this on this podcast, just about how the left, including people like Kris Mayes, you mentioned the boys and women's sports and women's locker rooms, going to be a deciding factor in the Virginia election and in the coming weeks, and they keep doubling down on these issues, which no one wants.
Yeah, it's crazy. You guys remember the 1980s?
Like, the
when we were all
polling is
normal?
very clear.
Yeah, right.
You could have never imagined, like, back in the 1980s, I could have never imagined, one day men are going to put breast implants in.
Yeah.
Boys are going to think they're girls, but it's crazy that the Democrats are just hanging on to this stuff. And in fact, when we almost lost the legislature, we were able to actually expand the legislature. But part of it was some of these issues that we were able to put out to people and let people know the Democrats were voting for. Like the Boys and Girls Sports bill barely passed.
Yeah.
Barely, because all
Democrats
Democrats voted no.
Yeah.
No sex changes on minors. That was my bill. Barely passed because all of the Democrats voted no. Well, we would go out. We did like focus groups with people because we were trying to expose that these what the Democrat legislators were voting for.
Yeah.
The people actually didn't even believe it.
No.
It's too outlandish.
It
It's
was
too
like
crazy.
No way.
There's like
No
no, and it's unfortunate because the media should be, pointing this out and showing that this is what the Democrats are doing, but it's so kind of hidden. So we had to do issues, and when we were doing our focus groups, we were making sure we were doing the far left issues, crazy issues, but the public would believe it.
Yeah, you're never gonna get the media to help you out on that.
No.
So that's good that you did that.
I mean, on that issue, one of the things that we've seen is that there's now a huge drop in the social contagion of trans has kind of
It's falling off the cliff.
The fever's broken a little
Yeah.
bit. There's a lot fewer young people who are identifying as trans, which I think is
Or non-binary or whatever they want to.
There's
Pronouns
a sense,
are out of
there's a
fashion.
sense that we're headed back to some normalcy, which is and your point about the Democrats just gripping onto this issue as it continues to go down in the sense of fewer people identify. I mean, it's going from a 20% issue to like a 5% issue, right? I mean, there's just so few people who give a shit about this. And it's just because they've lost their minds. And yet the whole party as an establishment is totally all in on this. It's just astounding.
No, it's wild, and if you're at sometimes at the legislature, and I'm like, I question my sanity because it's just
It's like this can't be real life.
Yeah, and it is. We really need the media to step it up, and we're actually we have in the last few years, and this has been a big reason why we won. We are finally starting to see, there's all these media sources like what you guys are doing right now, where we reach people in so many different ways, and we're getting the facts out there. But yeah, it is almost unbelievable the things they stand for and their push, and they try to get done.
Well, especially when you look at all you have to do is look at the last election, and I was one of those that believed that Biden was not going to be on the ballot at the end. We had talked about that the year
everybody
before.
kind of believed that, except for the Democrats.
Come on,
Me?
we talked about
We were talking about it
outliers.
earlier because we live in like the real world.
I did believe that it was going to be Michelle Obama, but she broke their hearts.
But there was a lot of people who believe that.
I had assumed that it wasn't going to be Biden anyway, and once it wasn't, it was like, well, this is going to be a challenge for anybody.
Right.
But I think that the issue that drove the popular vote into Trump territory and the landslide of the electoral college was, I think it stayed close on the issues of like inflation and those things, but the fact that the Trump campaign exposed Kamala for her radical ideology on trans issues was the game changer.
Yeah.
The fact that they had her on camera talking about taxpayer-funded sex changes for prisoners and for illegal aliens.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt.
And the that tagline of Kamala Harris is for they, them, President Trump is for you.
Right.
I think that is what took all of those suburban moms and they went, nope, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden the numbers spiked way up for Trump.
Yeah, I think there were kind of three things I think that really stood out to me, additional things from the election that were game changers. You had the youth vote more conservative,
Yeah.
like you've never seen before, and that you can give a lot of kudos to Charlie Kirk for making that happen and his movement. You had the Hispanic male.
Yes.
That went with Trump, and that ties into exactly they were not, these are like manly men, right?
Yeah.
And they are not going to buy this baloney. That ties in, exactly with what you're talking about. And then this is kind of a small thing, but I thought this was for me, it was like I felt like this was a game changer. The J.D. Vance debate with Tim Walz.
Yeah.
I thought that was like, it just showed the differences so clearly, and I thought that definitely made a difference.
No question.
Well, whenever you have your lead candidate breaking the fourth wall, with the camera, it's always with the little glances that he would do. You're winning.
Yeah, it was incredible.
Yeah, he overperformed as a vice presidential candidate for sure.
Oh, absolutely,
and has been a great.
And he's overperforming as a vice president for sure. I heard a perspective from a leading Democrat this morning, Dan Turrentine, on the Two-Way podcast, that he really believes this issue that we're talking about is equal, if not greater than the border issue, as a blind spot for the Democrats throughout this election that's coming up, and also the election next year. And that was interesting to hear. Yeah. That Democrats for years and years and years said there's nothing wrong with the border. The border's not open, blah, blah, blah. We heard this for years, and then it ended up eating them.
Yeah,
completely.
Oh, absolutely.
And right now they're reaping the consequences of that. And he believes the trans issue it will be a deciding factor in the Virginia elections and will be a deciding factor next year.
Do you think it may be now that you say that that might be one of the issues that's impacting the New Jersey governor's race as well?
Yeah,
those two governor's races. Well, obviously the AG's race and AG in Virginia, where it's got that outrageous texting, but those off-year governor races, those off-year governor races are the canary in the coal mine.
Mm-hmm.
And if one or two of those go Republican,
we're looking good.
Yeah, that all of a sudden things start to change in the mindset of what's the art of the possible. You look at the Senate map for Republicans next cycle, and at first glance it's like, well, there's no place we can gain. Maybe we can just hold, and we don't want to lose anything because Maine's going to be at risk, right?
Yeah.
But we now have Mike Rogers in Michigan, and you've got a very contentious primary on the Democrat side of Michigan. So that's a potential gainer. Unfortunately, we don't seem to have any top-tier candidates that I'm aware of right at the moment against Ossoff in Georgia. But that would be a place where we could certainly have some gains because the Republicans have grown in their registration in Georgia. So it'll be interesting to watch how this stuff develops, but then that goes to the House, and maybe we don't lose the House, maybe we win the House, maybe we expand on the House. The redistricting stuff is, we just picked up a seat in a redistricting new map in North Carolina on top of the 5 potential pickups in Texas, and there's going to be, I think, one in Missouri that's underway. Indiana might do it. Obviously, you've got California. Going to see what happens in November on that ballot initiative. That could wipe out the Texas game. But the point is that in what would typically be a bad Republican election cycle, it may not be as bad.
Right.
So that's good for you. Although I still think that even if we had a terrible election cycle, the fact that Kris Mayes is so out of touch with what she's supposed to be doing in her job that you can still win.
Yeah. No, we feel great about it, and just that she's really veered from the mission of the office, number one, and then the registration, number 2. So those are huge tailwinds, and I think we take that into 26, and we win.
That's great. How can people find you, support you, help you?
Yeah, thank you. People can go to our website, petersen4ag.com. And there's a couple things you can do on there. You can sign up for our email list. You can sign our digital signature. It takes 7,000 signatures for us to get on the ballot. And what's nice about the digital signatures is they cannot be challenged. Those are verified, and those are good signatures. So the other thing, of course, is donations. Exciting headline just came out a couple of days ago. We outraised Kris Mayes, and we even outraised every candidate in the entire state
That's
except
fantastic.
Well, that's
except for
amazing.
Hobbs. So we had an incredible quarter fundraising, but our budget's $3 million. We've got about $1.2 million cash on hand. We're on track to hit our budget. Maximum donations $5,500, but every donation helps and adds up. It took us, over 20 hours to load all of our donations from last quarter. So the small
Good problem to have, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's
Petersen4AG.com, and thanks so much for having me on the show.
Yeah.
No, it's great for you to be.
Great to
and
have
thanks
you.
for being a very proactive, conservative Arizonan in your current position as Senate President.
Yeah.
Got it.
You've been one of the best we've had.
Oh, I
for
appreciate
sure.
that. Thank you so much.
You
Makes
know,
me feel
I
good.
mean, good things will come from that for sure.
Thank you.
No question. Great. Thanks for
Well,
being
thanks
here,
for
Warren.
listening. Remember, we are a podcast about faith, freedom, and free enterprise, the founding principles of our great country. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, everybody. Take care.